Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where I log and share my journey as I deep dive into the fascinating world of whiskey and share my experiences that are personal but hopefully interesting and useful for you. So today we got two single barrel bourbons from the same distillery that I wanted to do a quick review on. It's Baker's Single Barrel 7-Year and Jim Beam Single Barrel. And I picked these up separately over the last few months and realized that they share so many characteristics that I had to do a comparison to see how they fare against each other. And so first up, a little background on these bottles. Both of them come from Jim Beam, and which is one of the most iconic names in bourbon history. And single barrel here just means that each bottle comes from a single hand-selected barrel instead of being a blend of bourbons that came from multiple barrels. Distillers typically go this route if they find the barrel to be either of high quality or imparts something interesting or unique that they want to highlight. And so it generally is a good thing, but it does mean that the profile may vary slightly or in some cases quite a bit between barrels. So starting with Baker's, it's named after Baker Beam, who's a 7th generation Beam family distiller. It's aged for a minimum of 7 years, and you'll often find barrels aged longer. Like my particular bottle here, the neck label states that it was aged for 7 years and 2 months, starting December of 2016. This product is always bottled at 107 proof and has a mash bill of 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley. And while it's not stated on the bottle, it's known to be non-chill filtered and no colors are added. MSRP is around $65, but I actually found this in my local Costco in San Francisco a few months ago for 45 bucks on sale. And a quick Google search as I record this video shows that actually the price has dropped to mid to high 40s, even at my local Total Wine and other stores around me. So I wonder if this is because of them pushing the recently released high rye version as a more premium product. Now, Jim Beam Single Barrel might not carry the same sort of recognition in the bourbon community, but in my opinion, it's a sleeper. It's bottled at 108 proof. It's got a nice kick without being overpowering, and the bottle's label has the specific barrel number. The label also states that less than 1% of Jim Beam barrels make it to the single barrel line, and that this product is unfiltered for fuller flavor. Now, the MSRP is around $50, but I got this bottle for half that price at my local Bevmo, which is another chain in California. It was on their buy one, get one for 5 cent promotion, which I'd only seen for their wines before, but some of their whiskeys were eligible. So I basically grabbed this bottle and a bottle of Legent for $50 total. And for those of you who haven't heard of Legent, it's a super interesting product. It's a beam bourbon that's partially aged in different casks and then blended by the chief blender at Suntory in Japan, who's the legend behind the Yamazaki line. So if you haven't had it or haven't heard of it, want to know more about it, like on paper, it sounds phenomenal. And I do have a bottle of it. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do a review of that one. Anyway, back to these two bottles. Let's get to the taste now. I've let both of these glasses sit for 15 minutes. So let's get into Baker's first. On the nose, I get a bit of baking spices and peanut, toasted oak, and char. A little bit smoky, not like in a peaty way, but just I think ashy and just char-y about it. And it feels a bit muted. It's not a peanut bomb by any means, but more subtle and mixed with oak and spice, and smells nice like a classic bourbon, but nothing really jumps out to entice me. And on the palate, it's pretty smooth. I do get a little bit of heat, a little bit of ethanol up front. I got like vanilla and brown sugar, and then there's like a pop of cinnamon and some spices and a warm oakiness. And the finish is rather quick. It's not really complex. There's nothing off-putting, and it's an easy sipper, especially given the proof, but like nothing remarkable in my opinion. It's pretty good. Now, let's see how the Jim Beam single barrel stacks up. So right off the bat, the nose is a little brighter and fruitier than Baker's. I'm getting honey and citrus and some charred oak. And really, the best part about it is that I get this wood sugar notes that I get on some of the Russell's Reserve products that I really enjoy. Overall, the nose on this is, to me, is is noticeably better than the Baker's. And on the palate, there's sweet corn. There's like sweetness up front, hints of like toasted nuts. Obviously, there's spice there too. And then I get a little bit of like orange and fruit that carries over from the nose. And a finish is medium long, definitely longer than Baker's. And it has the classic like nuttiness, but it doesn't take over, and it is well balanced with bright notes and the fruity notes, and just enough heat. So I enjoy this one very much, actually. So I thought Baker's would crush Jim Beam Single Barrel just given its popularity and name recognition in the community, but I was actually very surprised to find that I enjoy the Jim Beam Single Barrel much more. It's not only cheaper, even at the regular MSRP, well, maybe now they're comparable, but I find it more complex and balanced and just more notes of fruit and citrus and wood sugar that I really like compared to Baker's more just classic, sort of one-dimensional, like nutty bourbon flavor. Obviously, they're both good, and a lot of people have said great things about Baker's 7, and I totally agree. And I think it's a solid bourbon. I wouldn't mind keeping a bottle on my shelf. And also does have a better presentation with the cork top. I think it's synthetic, which I actually prefer anyway, personally. And then with just more kind of sophisticated, modern looking labeling. The bottle itself looks a little nicer. It does feel like heavier. And then you got the Jim Beam, which, twist off, and the label, it just looks a little bit more outdated and less aesthetically pleasing. But if I had to go purely by the distillate that's inside, I'm choosing Jim Beam Single Barrel over Baker's, at least today. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comments which one you would personally pick, or if there's another bottle with similar stats that you would think would win over both of them. And if you found this review interesting or helpful, please click to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.